during this time, sometimes you're at the south end of the bar, sometimes you're at the north end of the bar, sometimes you're over at the table like you are now on the left end of the screen, sometimes you're out on the patio. You're moving all the way around, correct?
Correct.
And would you agree with me that in this time, this is what Kenan and Tiffany are having a conversation up in this area, right? And you would agree with me that even though you are moving all around the bar, Tiffany is close to Kenan this entire time, correct?
I can't say for sure. They were close to each other.
Okay, fair enough. You can next see. Okay, you're still under oath, so the ask some questions, okay? Getting back to the beginning of your direct testimony, you said that Mr. Ivery did in the bar, right?
Correct.
And you said about 5 or 6 times, right? In fact, you said, when I was just talking to you, you knew what his order was all the time, correct?
Correct.
And you knew he got money wasn't changing, right?
When I worked, yes.
Yes. And you knew what his favorite football team was, right?
Correct.
Okay, you told us the Chicago Bears. You didn't know what my favorite football team was, correct?
Correct.
You had no relationship, correct?
Correct.
And you agreed with me as a bartender to your benefit to be friendly with your customers, correct?
Correct.
And to make them feel at home, correct?
Correct.
And to make them feel that you like them and care about them, correct?
Yes.
Sure. Would you agree with me that as a bartender, you will probably get better tips from a patron, whether it's Mr. Ivery or me or anybody else, if we're getting along, if I think you like me, if I like you, correct?
Can you ask that one more time?
I don't want to. When you were tending bar, and I understand you don't tend bar anymore, correct?
Correct.
How long did you tend bar for?
10 or 11 years. Gotta keep that voice up. 10 or 11 years.
You said 10 or 11 years.
Serving and working together.
Okay. Would you agree with me that you will make better tips? It will be to your benefit if you have at least a friendly relationship with your customers.
Friendly relationship?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Now, just so we're clear on everything, Kenan comes in, Kenan comes in and he's seated somewhere around here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I think your testimony was on direct examination at some point in time, a group of girls were there, correct?
Correct.
And they come and they sit around kind of where the L is, correct?
Correct.
that they were coming to meet Mr. Ivery, or they just happened to find 3 empty seats and have a seat there?
I don't know, it seemed that they knew.
It seemed like you knew.
Yes.
Okay. And you testified that you take this order, if I told you took this order at 12:33 in the morning, would you have any reason to disagree with that?
I don't recall the time.
Okay. And then you also make a drink, he makes a drink where he gets 2 cherry bombs and a shot of Ciroc, correct?
Correct.
And the Ciroc's for him, and the cherry bombs are drinks he's buying for 2 of these girls, correct? And you've been a bartender for a long time, 10 or 11 years, right?
Correct.
It's your experience that sometimes guys make drinks for girls, right?
Correct.
And sometimes guys offer to buy drinks for girls, and sometimes girls say, sure, and sometimes they say, no thanks, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Fair City, Mr. Ivory, this night at least, the contact that you had with him did not appear intoxicated at all.
No, he did not.
Okay, again?
No, he did not.
Okay. And he leaves at one point in time, and before he leaves, he says to you, I'm going to leave, just leave my wings here because I'm coming back, correct?
Correct.
And he actually, so I'm going to guess, so it doesn't look like he's running out on his bill, he pays you for the wings of those 3 drinks before he leaves, correct?
I do not recall the thing.
Well,
I do not recall if his tab was paid or not.
okay. Fair enough. That's, people say I'm the, okay, and again, I'll show it to you. This doesn't indicate whether it was paid or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you don't remember him paying you, you don't remember if he did pay or didn't pay you?
I do not.
Fair enough. Now, you went in on November 20th and met with Sergeant Liddy and the Detective Morrison and the Lieutenant Wiggum at the Akron Police Station. Remember that?
I remember that, yes. I do not remember everybody's names in the room.
Fair enough. But there was 3 Akron detectives, correct? Do you remember?
From what
Forgive me now.
From what I recall,
Okay, it was early in the morning, about 9:43 in the morning, correct?
it was early, yes.
All right. And Sergeant Liddy asked you questions about these 3 girls. And he said, do you ever get any complaints about Kenan Ivery's behavior from these girls? Do you remember getting asked that question?
I do not.
Okay. Well, now I'll ask you. Do you ever remember getting any complaints about Kenan Ivery's behavior?
I do not recall.
What does that mean you don't recall? You don't know if you did get any? Or if you
No,
didn't get any?
I do not remember getting any.
Okay, you don't remember getting it. And let's talk about the 5 or 6 prior times that he had been in that bar. Was he ever a problem?
No,
Ever, right?
not when I was there.
Well, you have reason to believe that different times he was there that you weren't, that he was a problem?
No, but I cannot speak for any times that he was there.
Absolutely, I understand that. So I'm going to just focus on the times, the 5 or 6 times that you were there. Was Kenan Ivery ever a problem in that bar?
No,
Okay. Now, at some point in time in direct examination, the prosecutor talked to you about Anne Marie, correct?
correct.
Now, you're a bartender. You consider yourself a bartender or a bartender / server?
Both.
Okay. Because you're behind the bar, but you're also running over tables to get the orders too, correct? But if you fill a drink order from the table, you still got to come back here and make the drink and everything, right?
Correct.
So it's fair to say that the majority of your time is spent behind the bar.
Majority, yes.
Okay, that's it. Now, prosecution and direct examination about the Anne Marie thing, talking about Anne Marie asking if she belonged behind the bars, correct?
Correct.
And Anne Marie was up here, correct?
Yes.
And you were up here, correct? And Ms. Ivory was seated right about here, correct?
Correct.
At any time, did you see any aggressive behavior from Mr. Ivory towards Anne Marie? Did you see it?
I didn't.
Okay. And again, you did spend a lot of time behind this car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Prosecutor asked you about the conversation that was happening between Tiffany and Mr. Ivory that was kind of over here in this general area, correct?
Correct.
And you stated you looked up and you saw them talking, correct?
Correct.
And the prosecutor asked you there was nothing out of the ordinary about their conversation, right?
Not that I remember seeing.
Okay. Nothing that caused you concern.
No.
In fact, you've seen situations before with Tiffany where it's taken her over a half hour to get somebody to leave the bar, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just a couple questions for you. Just to clarify the confusion, Mr. President suggested you said that Kenan said, I don't want these fucking wings right at 1:40 a.m. You have that exact memory, the exact time?
I cannot recall or tell you what exact time that was.
Okay, so saying that you said it happened exactly at 1:40, you recall testifying to that?
I do not recall testifying to that.
You do recall talking to the police just a couple days after this happened back in late November of 2014, correct?
Yes, I talked to the police a few times.
And the first time was what, a couple days? If you remember, how many days after this incident occurred?
2 or 4.
And do you recall at that time telling them that Kenan Ivery had said, I don't want these fucking things?
I did.
You told them that verbatim?
I did not want these fucking. But keep that voice up.
Just tell them that word for word.
Yes, I did.
And did that have any significance to you, or what happened that night? When you
No.
told them that, no?
No.
Were you just trying to tell them everything you remember hearing and seeing that night?
From what I can remember seeing and hearing, that's what they asked me to tell them.
So this is not the first time you've come in and told someone that Kenan Ivery said, I don't want these fucking things.
Correct.
And these wings were, when did you receive those wings? The time?
12:37 a.m.
12:37 a.m. And we're talking about 1:40, but we're looking at the clock at 1:40 a.m. That's what a good hour even after these wings were in order, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Where were you standing when you heard the say allegedly said I want to talk to me?
At the scene. At the bar.
Nobody has any idea what the scene is. So about midway in the bar? Okay. And if you remember, when he allegedly said that he was staying there, that's right.
I do not recall.
Thank you.
No further questions?
I think you maybe can step down.
directly into the microphone, okay? Can you blow a little bit for just more? Okay. Can you give us your name, please?
Jennifer Emily,
And spell your last name?
INHOFF.
All right, you're gonna have to pull it right in front of your mouth, and then remember to project when you speak.
Okay. All right, so give us your last name again.
Imhoff, IMHOFF.
Okay. And Jennifer, how old are you?
42.
Are you from the Akron area?
Yes.
Did you grow up here?
Springfield Township.
Okay. Go to high school in the area?
Springfield.
And what year did you graduate high school?
91.
And for a while, you were working as a Springfield police officer, is that right?
Yes.
Worked for Springfield PD for about 14 years?
Yes.
Okay. But you're currently not working, is that fair?
Correct.
And I want to ask you some questions, of course, about November 15, 2014 to November 16, 2014, and where you were that night at Papa John's Pub, right?
Okay.
So first of all, do you go there often? Have you been to the bar before?
I have been there a few times.
A few, like 2 or 3?
Maybe 5 or 6.
Okay. Do you know the bar owners or managers?
I have met them maybe once or twice before.
Okay. And when I say managers or owners, I'm talking, I guess, about Tiffany Miller or her family?
Yes.
Do you know Tiffany?
Not very well.
Know of her?
Yes.
Okay. I know she was the manager of the pub.
Yes.
Did you know her boyfriend at the time, Justin Winebrenner?
No.
And are you familiar with other police officers, you being a prior police officer for Springfield? Do you know other police officers who would go to Papa John's Pub?
Yes.
And the night we're talking about, November 15 and then November 16, 2014, when you were there, right?
Yes.
Were there other police officers present at the bar?
Yes.
Okay, did you know a number of them?
Yes.
Who did you know?
Jeff Shields, Tom Russell, Jackie Largent. She was there earlier. Those are the only ones I can think of right now.
Okay. So you said you did not know Justin Winebrenner?
No.
Did you know his name or know of him?
I think I had seen him before, but I didn't personally know him.
Okay. Now, at that time, in November 2014, had you met Dave at that point, Big Dave?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know Dave Levine?
We were friends. We had been friends for a couple months at that point.
And on that night, November 15, 2014, you were with Dave Levine?
Yes.
And you just describe kind of how that night started out with the two of you.
We just were out for the evening, went to a couple of bars.
Do you remember all the names of bars you went to?
We went to National Nights. We went to Shirley's and the bowling alley in Springfield.
All right, so you went to a couple places and ended up at Papa John's?
Yes.
Now, when you were at the different restaurants or the bowling alley or bars, Shirley's, those places, you guys been drinking?
Yes.
And Dave was the one driving?
Yes.
Is that Papa John's pub close to Dave's home?
Yes.
In your bar there?
Right.
Do you recall how much you had to drink that night?
No, I don't.
Recall drinking at the different places you guys went to?
Yes.
Did you drink beer or did you drink liquor drinks?
I was drinking beer and a couple shots.
Do you know, at the time, did you know Kenan Ivery?
No.
Never met him before?
No.
You guys are met at Papa John's Pub, and do you have a clear up front? Do you have a clear memory of that night?
No, I don't.
And why was that?
I don't know if it was alcohol or shock, but if it's not, I don't remember at all.
So let's go with kind of what do you remember. You guys remember being there with David and being in the bar?
Yes.
What do you remember in regard to, because you got injured, correct?
Yes.
Let's talk about kind of, what's your first memory of something going wrong where you then get shot?
I remember hearing gunshots and then seeing Dave walk down past the bar and collapse on the floor.
Do you remember where you were in the bar when you would have heard the gunshots?
I believe I was right about the center of the bar.
Okay. And since the time, have you had the occasion to look at the video in this case of the bar that night?
I saw a small portion and then like before the shooting and then whatever's been on the news.
So you haven't seen the whole bar video that night?
No.
So from your memory, you remember being somewhere towards the center of the bar, and there's some kind of thing there as well too. On the big map we have up here of the bar itself, facing the 5. And this is the entranceway coming on in the door, and here's the bar, and here's these big pub tables, I guess. Do you know approximately where you were when you heard shots fired? Pointing to something on the map here.
Yeah, I believe I was right around those first groups of chairs.
Here, can you point that out, please?
I think it was somewhere right in this area.
Okay. And so you hear it?
Yes.
Do you, and you said you see Dave walking or running or going towards him? How did you see Dave moving?
I just saw him moving, and I knew that he was hurt.
Do you recall being near him here when you heard the shots and you saw he was hurt
I'm not exactly sure where he was.
in relation to you? What did you do when you saw him moving towards the south end of the bar?
I went down to where he was and, was just trying to console him, see what I could do, if I could help.
Did you see that he was injured then?
Yes.
Where did you see his injury?
In his stomach.
Did you try to assist him by applying pressure or carrying him in some way?
Yeah, just talking to him, trying to, he told me he was shot. Someone had called 911. I was just reassuring him that he was going to be okay and the paramedics were on their way.
Do you recall the paramedics coming?
Yes.
And when did you first notice that you had also been shot?
It wasn't until, I think, a few minutes later that I realized.
When you say a few minutes later, do you mean a few minutes after you get the shots?
Yes.
And when you did realize that you were shot, what part of your body, was it pain that you were feeling? How did you know?
I don't know. I just realized I was more focused on Dave and what was going on that I don't know how I finally realized it.
And was Dave bleeding a lot in the bar?
Yes.
Where, when you eventually felt it or saw it or realized you were also shot, what part of your body were you shot?
My left arm up here.
Is there a way to show that and let you sleep up a little bit? Do you have a scar from that?
Yeah, there's a small scar here where it went in, and then the scars where it came out.
So it kind of like through your upper arm?
Yes.
Were you then also taken to the hospital by EMS to get evaluated?
Yes.
How did they treat your gunshot wound?
They cleaned it out, I believe, with saline, kept me there throughout the day, wrapped it in gauze that had to be changed twice a day, gave me antibiotics.
So, were anything internal in your arm injured involved with anything like that?
No.
And after it was treated and you were released, can you tell us about how your injury is now and how it's healed?
It took a few months for it to quit hurting. The wound itself was closing, but the pain and stiffness was there for a few months. It's pretty much okay now.
You have full range of motion now?
Yes.
So it took several months, meaning, what, 3 months or so, 4 months to heal up properly?
Probably 3 or 4.
Have a lot of bruising afterwards?
Yes.
And when you are, do you later just learn your kind of what, from either people telling you or from medical records when you're in the hospital, from medical personnel in the hospital, do you know what your full blood alcohol level was that night?
I was told
Do you know what it was there?
0.32.
Okay, so pretty intoxicated.
Yes.
Do you feel that has anything to do with the fact that you don't have a real clear memory of what happened there?
I'm sure it has something to do with it.
Do you recall you were photographed in the hospital showing your wound for police to photograph?
Yes.
And when would that have been?
Later that morning.
And you said how long were you in the hospital?
I was released late afternoon, early evening.
Of the same, well, that would have been on the 16th then?
Yes.
I'm going to show you then some photographs have you identified, okay?
Okay.
First, I'm going to show you what I've brought to State Exhibit. Let's do it all together. 10, 11, 12, and 13. You just take a look at those for me first and tell me if you recognize them.
Yes.
All right, look through all of them. Okay, and what are they photographs of then?
My wound in my arm.
And these are the ones that were taken at the hospital?
Yes.
Up for the benefit of the jury. Okay, this is State Exhibit 10. This is you in the hospital and you're showing the gunshot wound there?
Yes.
And is that from what you can tell, the bullet went in or out your arm?
That's the exit.
The exit, okay. And this is State Exhibit 11. Got a closer up of that exit wound?
Yes.
And again, that's kind of under here,
Yes.
against my upper arm. And this is your left arm, correct?
Yes.
This is State Exhibit 12. This is just another sort of view of the whole body, or half the body, and your wound.
Yes.
Is the gauze that you see up around your wrist sort of area, lower arm area, is that just they can move out of the way so they can see the picture?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have any injury up there?
No.
All right, and then this is State Exhibit 13. And does this photograph show us both the entrance wound on top and the exit wound?
Yes.
And these pictures fairly inaccurately represent how your arm looked on the night, the 16th of November 2014?
Yes.
going to ask me to repeat the question if you don't understand. Is that fair?
Okay.
Starting with the night that you and Dave Bocati left your place, that would have been about what time on the evening of the 15th?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You remember being interviewed by the police officers shortly after the shooting?
At the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember telling the officers that you thought you got to Papa Don's between 8 and 9 p.m.?
No.
Okay. In terms of where you went that night, you went to a few places, is that correct?
Yes.
Were you drinking that night?
Yes.
Was Dave drinking with you that night?
Yes.
Was he matching you drink for drink?
I don't know.
Okay. You went to Tiny's bar first, is that correct?
I believe we went there. I don't know in what order.
All right. We've had some testimony prior to you being here about what order. If I said you started at Tiny's bar, would that sound about right?
I don't know.
Okay. If I were to suggest to you that you went to Shirley's bar next, that sounds right.
I don't know. I
All
don't
right.
know the order.
And if I were to propose that you went to a bowling alley and a bar bowling alley after that, would that sound reasonable?
We were there.
Okay. Now, did you have something to drink at each place?
Yes.
Did Dave have something to drink at that place, at those places?
I don't remember.
If next you went to Nashville Nights, does that sound familiar?
Yes, we were
All
there.
right. Did you have something to drink at Nashville Nights?
Yes.
All right. And after that, then you got to Papa Don's, correct?
Yes.
Did you have something to drink at Papa Don's?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you had at least one drink, if not more, at each place that you stopped at?
Yes.
All right? And the hospital records indicate that you have 0.32 alcohol content in your blood. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know what the legal limit is in Ohio?
Yes.
And what is it?
0.08.
So that's 4 times the amount of legal alcohol. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the police officers during your interview that you don't remember much of what happened that night?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the officers, though, that Dave Bocati did not get in any altercation?
I don't remember.
If a police officer would come in later on and tell us, being the entire courtroom, that you told him that Dave never got into an altercation that night, that officer might be mistaken.
Judge, repeat that.
Fine.
Officer stated, yeah, rephrase that.
Right, I was about to. You remember being interviewed an officer, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And if some officer comes in here and tells us later on that you told him that Dave never got into an altercation, he didn't correct or wrong.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Right. Do you have any idea how much Dave Bocati had to drink that night?
No, I don't.
If Dave told us that he only had 3 beers that night, would that be correct?
I don't remember.
In terms of what happened in the bar, you really don't remember what happened, is that correct?
I've already said what I do remember.
Right? And do you remember an officer asking you if your memory was impaired because you were so intoxicated?
No, I don't.
In fact, ma'am, you don't even remember being shot when you were shot. Is that correct?
I didn't realize that I was shot.
Is that because you were so intoxicated?
I believe it was more because I was focused on Dave and the situation that was going on.
You don't remember a lot. You don't remember what happened that night, but you remember that.
remember what specifically.
What happened today?
Yes. I remember that he was hurt.
Thank you, Mr.
Anything else? No. All right, thank you, ma'am.